I decided to remake the Mario Party Jamboree Comparison Part 2 to give y'all better visuals now that I am able and have the equipment to give you a better comparison of the Mario Party 6 to Mario Party Jamboree franchise. I am disheartened that I have to make this video as I am a huge Iomata fan for like Mario and Zelda games as they shaped my childhood and gave me an optimistic output in life. In fact, they're a large reason why I believe games and people can even be redeemed to begin with and were a motivation, not the entire motivation or primary motivation to why I created a gaming community channel dedicated to that one objective, to the redemption of people and games. But anyways, I'm going to be showing you guys Mario Party Jamboree today in better visuals to help y'all understand the comparison between the Mario Party 6 and these games. I cannot, and I will not ever make these monetizable at risk of copyright infringement, as I can be charged with a copyright strikes on my channel. But I will give you guys the comparison for the ability to show transparency in games so newer generations can know how games used to be, how they are now, and make their own assessment on whether games were actually better in the past, which I would argue objectively they were. And the games today we have now don't meet the price tag, which is kind of a new thing with Nintendo. Nintendo's always been very stingy on never releasing products for free and never slashing their prices. But at the same time, Nintendo was also not known for overcharging for their products either, even if it's first party and they're the only ones who have it. Because the fact of the matter is, consumers have to be willing and able to buy your product at its product value, even if it's a first party game and you're the only one with access to it. Because quite frankly, consumers will not buy what they believe is overcharged. They just won't. And they will eventually stop being loyal. It's a business plan that works for a while, but eventually dies off. Regis Iame, a former president of Nintendo, covered that in one of his press conferences of business strategies before his retirement. And I believe he was dead on with that. And it's also why I'm disheartened why I'm making this comparison to show the level of care that Iomata has been putting into his games. I don't know why he insisted on the change of direction from the GameCube franchises, and I get the GameCube console didn't sell well, but the GameCube games, as a review, were some of the best ever reviewed Mario and Zelda games to this day of the Nintendo franchise. It's what put Iomata on the map, his GameCube and Wii designs. And I do not know what happened after Mario Party 9, why did they change the direction, and why it seems like he lost his user-first collaborative philosophy of always giving an enjoyable product going forward. Why did this seem to have been lost in his heart and soul and joy when his products seem to have gone away. But I'm going to show you through here why I make that claim as a consumer, as someone with a business aptitude, and why I think something happened. I don't know what it was, but it's like his soul and his designs have been removed. Now, this game was definitely a step in the right direction towards the formulas that worked in the past, but it is still far from it, and it is still far from an $80 price value of a game. I'm going to be playing one of the better boards I have in terms of enjoyment on this game right now through the product I had bought. To give you an idea why. I'm rolling the dice. I am Mario, obviously. You're going to see down below it's going to say Matt. It's my user. Comma Nintendo. Why it disheartens me as a long-standing Nintendo consumer that I'm even making this video. But I am seriously concerned with the current trajectory of Nintendo, in that they may be lost from the detachment, that there is a level of transparency nowadays that is not seen in previous generations, where people can actually know how games used to be and how they are now and make their own analysis as consumers. and that has the potential to either increase loyalty to a company or decrease it. This new level of transparency. And they could see firsthand video of guys who still have it. Like I still have Mario Party 6, that's videos you can see on my channel, shorts, stuff like that, of me playing that on my Wii, and I showed that I actually have it, that I pulled up a GameCube game. There I go, I'm the 1 of 5, that's going to put me on a blue space. Now the one positive thing I could say they got right with this game is that none of the mini games feel overly challenging, in the sense of, like, they're fun, they're enjoyable, and they're not too challenging, but the boards are bland. There was not really an incentive on making the board more strategic to move around. There was a big incentive on rolling higher dices or moving higher rolls, so on and so forth. On getting payday dice, on which essentially is a roll higher for more coins and more spaces. Not so much things like Mario Party 6, where there was a perfect balance between your space capsules and your trap capsules and your dice rolls, where sometimes you may have wanted a trap capsule instead of a dice roll to get an edge, and so on and so forth. Let's snag the flag here. They did a poor job of that. The only area where they went a step in the right direction is by making Bowser Jr. an ally, but even then, the ally system is a large reason why Super Mario Party on the initial Switch, the pre-jamboree version, sort of failed and flopped as a product. There were 5 boards, highly unintuitive boards, very unstrategic to move around, not really much additional obstacles, and the literal allies just gave you better dice blocks. Like, it was about as bland and direct as you can get for a game. There was no special gateways, no special gateways to get a free star, nothing like that, like there was in Mario Party 8. That was actually a unique gimmick and feature in Mario Party 8. And it existed in, like, I think previous games, if I'm not mistaken, but I couldn't tell you which ones they were. It's been a while since I played Mario Party 7, it might have been there. But if I had to put Mario Party 8 on a tier list from, like, of the Mario Parties, it would still be second in terms of the positive things it's done or lack thereof. Simply because Mario Party 7 existed, and it had the solo feature that was a big selling point board-wise for Mario Party 8, but you also were able to keep doing space hexes, and or they're called character spaces. I refer to them as hexes. I don't know why. I just do. And you still had that original storyline, just like you did in Mario Party 8. And that was its, like, large selling point, and it existed in 7. But you had space, you're still in the capsule system with traps, character spaces, and dice blocks, and the orb shops. So to this day, I will put Mario Party 7 above 8. And I think from 5, 6, and 7 were the best ever made. In terms of the Mario Party franchise, I will die on that hill. And I mean that objectively and not objectively, you could say that they were the best products. I mean, you could look at the care, you could look at the gimmicks, how they capitalized on the gimmicks, if there were any gimmicks, how well executed it was, and the board variety, any special gimmicks on the boards that make the outside of the minigame game fun and entertaining and more strategic. And those really, during those years, Mario Iwata really capitalized really hard on those gimmicks and really focused on the gameplay. I do not know why this is suddenly changed to, let's get more skins, let's get more aesthetically pleasing boards, and a bunch of other things. Why it became so bland, and why the focus was diverted away from gameplay and a gaming media platform. You would think if you're in a gaming media platform that the gameplay would be what sells the gaming media. But especially with a guy who's historically known for having a user-first philosophy of bringing enjoyment through childhood inspiration, and so virtual reality is an extension of that. You really never would expect that he would have that kind of issue, where he would struggle to create a product at the dollar value it's being issued at, and that he would ever divert away from gameplay. So it really, really begs the question, what happened to Yamada? Why the change in direction? As we're going to see through here, and eventually when we get to the gameplay in the future, as I continue to play this and you see the ally system and you see what I'm talking about, you literally get like one bonus with these ally systems, and it's not even like a game changer, usually. And the other gimmick you get is if you land on a star space and you have an ally, you can buy 2 instead of 1. Which, that is game changing, but you can get that with any ally. Like, why would I want that? What makes moving around the board more strategic? What makes the user more entertained, right? Instead of just what makes this ally gimmick better. Doesn't make any sense, and it's just, I don't understand the change of direction. I never understood it. It's been negatively received since Mario Party 9. As far as I know from the consumers I talk to in the Nintendo platform and the will make content on Nintendo products, specifically Mario Party, and even people who have rated Mario Parties have put either 5, 6, or 7 dang near every time on a GOAT tier, which is why I'm increasingly more shocked to find out that the GameCube actually undersold as a console. And I will state that a second time just for emphasis. Because, like I said, it's some of the best Mario and Zelda titles ever released were released on a product that did not sell, a console that did not sell. I do not think it was the GameCube's fault. I think it may have had a low advertising budget. Nintendo wasn't really known at the time for what it could be or what it could do during that time. But man, if I had to choose Sony or Nintendo during that time, I would have chosen Nintendo. Simply because the games were that much better. And I will bet on that hill. And I played Sony games at my friend's house. People who bought the PS2. I could tell you it was a night and day difference. The games on the GameCube console versus the ones on the PlayStation. It's why I'm increasingly shocked to hear about this pragmatic media and how someone created a wholesome, ethical game. Yes, it fell under a lot of controversies and scrutiny from, unfortunately, some people who probably normalize their trauma. I've heard of numerous cases like this where trauma has gone unchecked for years and it reached a level of normalization where people started taking personal enjoyment in the trauma, developed an appetite to inflict trauma. And unfortunately, this is becoming an increasing theme in life, and it could damage gaming communities if these people enter it, like what we've seen with the Pragmata media. And I was actually incredibly surprised to see that they've been doing this. In my recent Tower Fantasy content, which I love doing, by the way, I do not like the character clothing. I'll be the first one to say it. I think that they're too promiscuously dressed. But the storyline itself was one of the most humane storylines I've ever seen. And for games and methods that Nintendo has been historically known for to suddenly not be known for it, and then Sony to sort of take up that mantle that's been losing loyalty in its player base for I don't know how long, was quite frankly surprising and shocking. And it brings further concern to myself as a Nintendo consumer that where's Nintendo's head at? Why are they letting their consumers just run away on the business narrative and put them in the ground? Because that's what it's looking like. The more that if they keep going the direction of making pragmatic games despite the controversy, don't listen to these horrible leftists, these people who are currently, who've normalized their trauma and gained an aptitude and an appetite for abuse, for abusive things and abusing people and people's ideas. they don't listen to them and keep down this path, it could easily be one of the better gaming franchises of the modern era, and Nintendo will become an afterthought. And that is a problem when you were talking about Nintendo's history. Nintendo has never been put in this kind of position before. And I would argue that this is new territory for Nintendo to be put in this kind of position. Or new-ish, at least. Sense of any older consumers really are not known for their, lack of a better word, no, Nintendo's not known for this kind of lackluster product development. But anyways, I'm just seriously concerned with the trajectory of Nintendo and where they're heading for the foreseeable future. I could definitely see them being dead in the ground and bankrupt in the next 5 to 10 years if they continue down this path. I wish it doesn't happen. I generally wish, and I wish I didn't have to state this about Yamada's work. I really don't. Like I said, I loved Super Mario, Sunshine, Mario Superstar Baseball as a kid, Mario Party 5, Mario Party 6, Mario Party 7. I absolutely adored Super Mario Strikers. Like, in fact, even back when Mario Superstar Baseball came out, I came up with me and other people who played that game and owned it in the GameCube at the time, it was almost a unanimous consensus or close to it. Even if people came up with a couple ways that game could be improved from a consumer standpoint, it was almost unanimous there was virtually no improvement to be made on Mario Superstar Baseball, that when we got Sluggers, that it could only be a comparable product, and they delivered a comparable product following such a massive positive review on an undersold console. So believe me when I say I was of those people. I played those games. I do not want to make a video highlighting the lack of soul in products Iwamata has made so far in his Mario and Zelda games. I played Zelda the Wind Walker. I played Zelda Twilight Princess. I never thought Twilight Princess was even a bad product. I think that the game mechanically didn't mesh well with the current system it was played on. As in, like, you would have to restart an area just because you fell off a bridge, and it was very difficult to get your character to land on a bridge with a Wii remote. So that caused me some grief, and it was enough grief that it made the game unfun to play, but it was the mechanics, it was not the game. I will die on that hill and say it was very different. The mechanics made the game unfun, not the game itself was unfun, or the design of the product. It was still very, very good. I just never picked up another Zelda after that. But it doesn't change the fact that these were fundamental games for me when I was a kid. And I, to this day, where is it? On to this day, do not want to make negative reports showing you the difference in care between the gimmicks they used, the kind of gameplay there was, and give you that transparency. And I would argue that, and make the debate, that the games back in the GameCube days, Mario Party 6, specifically the ones I make at this Mario Party and that console too, in that game, comparing them, that Mario Party 6 had a lot more care, a lot more soul. It was a lot more concentrated on making sure that a user had a good time. That the product and the software they were selling was worth every dollar value they were asking for. I don't think that exists and has existed since Mario Party 9. I don't think it's existed on Mario sports titles since the Wii. I think we have an issue. And I haven't played the Zelda, so I can't give you a honest pay-per-view on that, but it sounds like Zelda's taking a dip from people who still play Zelda as well. And these are two of the three franchises that make Nintendo. I would argue that if it wasn't for Pokemon, no one would have bought the Switch 2. No one. If it wasn't for the leak of Pokemon Winds and Waves, I would sincerely make that claim because I'm not entirely sure that people would honestly buy the Switch 2 thinking it's worth it if that game wasn't on there. Because these are the staple games you would technically expect with games like Nintendo and why you would actually want a Nintendo product or a Nintendo console. And it begs the question, if Pokemon's the only thing that's coming alive and they were able to mess up a game as simple as a virtual board game like Mario Party, are they not capable of messing up Pokemon and essentially killing off Nintendo? As that is the only other first party exclusive associated with Nintendo. So, anyways, but the feature you're seeing right now is one of the features they introduced that they sort of emphasized the stealing of items as a means of changing these boost stations, if you will, as a means of changing the parameters and or leads, along with the ally system now able to grant you 2 stars and gain 2 items because you have an ally with you. So you're essentially able to double it as that ally serves as a second user connected to you, but it's actually an AI. Oh no, she's right at the star. Oh, but you can afford it. Like I said, it was very, very disappointing for me to have to give this report up, and it's like I am not trying to bash Iomada's work. I'm merely questioning why this is happening. Why Iomada decided this, because this is very un Iomada like to make products like this. It is very unlike him. And it's been like unlike him for a while. So I gotta know what happened. When did he lose his heart? When did he lose his soul? And why did he insist on going this way? I have to ask. And changing this direction and staying in this direction that violates his user philosophy, his gaming philosophy, for the games he develops. Oh no. That becomes my sort of that becomes my point. So hope you'll enjoy the gameplay, hope you'll enjoy the comparison. That I'm giving you. That's sort of my take on the matter. What do I do? Is it this? No. What's this? See, there's the ally right there. We're entering a flash sale, and this particular board of flash sale makes A flash sale makes everything half price, including the star. It's an interesting feature and gimmick they added on this board. Think of it like a Black Friday gimmick. And they introduced with a shopping board. That's essentially what's happening here. It's a Black Friday gimmick. Skim 8 from the star and use the double dice try to reach the star here. There we go. See, so I'm now buying the star for 10 coins. During the flash sale, which gives me a lead, 1 star and 21 coins. And the second star is now over there as it moves places, just like in your typical Mario parties before and after today. I also landed on Blue Shop. There's these special shops here that allow you to buy items. Like here you could buy what you would call a Blue Bell. It's typically 15 coins, but because we're in a flash sale, I can now get it for 7, which allows you to call on a Boo. I'm gonna buy it. Now I get that Boo Bell. That 200 price tag is a signature item to this board. That's another interesting thing they added, but these items were not really capitalized on for the gimmicks of the boards. But what it does is it doubles the price of anything Toadette's going to buy come next turn. So if she wants to buy an item that costs 5 coins, it's going to cost her 10 in order to buy that same item. These stamps allow you to get coins when you pass by the Koopa Troopa shop. In order to turn them in for additional coins, each stamp is worth 10. You get 3 stamps, you get 30 coins. 4 stamps is 50, I believe. 1 is 10. 20, 30, 40. You get the idea. 20, 30, and if you get all 4, you get an additional 10. Equaling 50 coins. You can get at the shop if you get all the stamps before you get there. See this little shopper's sleeve, which is a niche little thing. It's fun. It's gimmicky. But it's not really a gimmick that affects the user at all. Again, Iomada's philosophy was always user first, which is why I'm questioning why this is in here. It's a little helpful, it's a little decorative, but not really a user first gameplay gimmick.